Hi, good evening.
Hi. Hi.
It's great to see everyone again. So tonight, what I'm going to do is just kind of give you an update on where we are as a district, as a department, all the work that we're doing. And really the main theme that you'll see throughout the evening is that technology is really at the foundation of a lot of the work that we're doing. We have our wildly important goals this year, and each department and school and the district as a whole is working toward it. And technology is sort of interwoven throughout that. We have work with the business office, and HR, special ed, buildings and grounds. So that's kind of one major theme that keeps emerging for this work. But I think, as we always do, it's really just that emphasis on our students and the work that we're doing and how that supports their educational experience. So that's really what we're looking at as a department. So the presentation tonight is really to do some introductions. It's been a busy year for us. We have a new team. We have new team members. So it'll be exciting to introduce those individuals, some of who have not actually started yet. We have movement still afoot, which is nice. People growing, new additions to the team, so we'll do those introductions, as well as talk about initiatives across the district. And this is really to give the board as well as the community an understanding of where our work is focused as a department, and things around safety and security, first and foremost, as well as infrastructure, our systems, communication, and so forth. So we have quite a bit to share. So here's just a quick snapshot of our new team. Some smiling faces, always great to see who's there. And so here's a new picture of our department. What we have here is really something totally new for Pleasantville, which is the addition of Acture. And Acture is a well-established technology firm, you could say, in New York State. They've worked in multiple districts across the region and across the state, and schools as well as nonprofits. So they have joined us this year, as well as our partners at the Lyric. And then of course we have our team here. Starting from the bottom up, we've got the educational technologist role. And this is really exciting for us because as we expand our technology work, this role enables us to have the individuals in each building work on the technology, what we say, bits and bytes, or gears and pliers, right? So the technical part, but then also working with our teachers and our students on instructional technology. So not only when something is broken, but then thinking about, well, how can we start to integrate these different tools and technologies into the classroom? And so Nicole Madison, one of our educational technologists, is here tonight. And so we're very excited to have her here.
And a former teacher.
And a former teacher.
And a former teacher, and I think
Welcome
that's
back.
Which makes her doubly suited to help with instructional.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's really been very exciting, and
Technology.
Nicole has been just sort of driving a lot of that work, and it's nice to see that vision come to fruition, and that's what she really brings to that role. So those are the building level individuals that we have. And then we have Michael Prendergast, who is our level 2 technician. He's not here physically, but he is on Zoom tonight, so shout out to Michael for attending. And Michael actually comes to us with a background in education as well.
Right.
He has a master's in education, and he was doing his internships in education before the pandemic hit. So it's really nice to have that educational experience within the department to support that work. Over to the side, you see Dylan Stat. He's our database specialist, and his work is really around our rostering and our systems. And that's an area where we're seeing a lot of growth, and really nice to have that focus. We're building different solutions, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. And then rolling up the ladder there, or the chart, we have Richmond Fox, and Richmond's joining us tonight. He's our technology operations manager, comes to us with a wealth of experience, and really a phenomenal addition to the team. So that's really nice for us as we continue to build out and his work is around strategy, operations, projects,
That's so great.
pieces like that. So it really
So
helps
great.
us as the scope of our work increases,
Yeah.
being able to have that expertise. So we're very, very pleased and lucky to have him. Then going over, we have Joaquin Caballero, and that's a new name to just about everyone. Joaquin is not here yet. He is with the RIC, the name that's familiar, and the individual in previous picture, we'll go back here, we've got Kenny Gendron, and Kenny is still with us. But it is what happens with our team is that we have a lot of superstars, and Kenny will be going back to the RIC and working, because Kenny currently works for the RIC, and he will be heading back. The RIC is the Regional Information Center. He'll be working there, and Joaquin will be joining us. And he is our network specialist. Azar is a part of our managed IT service. As some of us know, we were one of the pilot districts for managed IT in the region. So this is a resource that we've utilized for years, and Azar is our connection to that work. We have Christy Nilsson, who is well known to the district, and she spearheads and oversees our student information system. And then Julie Schwartz, our jack of all trades, much beloved. Julie continues to work with the department. This year it's taken on a different role. She's doing a lot around the insurance, as well as data privacy,
Great.
as well as some of our security work. And so she's been playing a very critical role
That's great.
in that work. And then another new addition, and this is a shared resource with business and HR, is Gina Gavigan. And Gina's been great in being able to help us move along some of our administrative work.
That's great.
So,
Fantastic.
like I was mentioning, it's really, as this work kind of unfolds, the biggest thing that we're seeing is around data and keeping our students safe and secure. The first thing that I wanted to touch on is really our cybersecurity work. And the way that I kind of think about this work, it's kind of like a road trip, right? You want to do all this planning, and you've got to make sure everything's safe, and you've got this journey mapped out, but you need to kind of account for any unknowns. And the analogy can kind of expand from there with roads and so on and so forth. But for us, what we're really doing is finding out that as we continue on this journey with technology, there needs to be a really major emphasis on supporting our students and our staff around training and awareness with technology. And it just continues to grow and grow. So that's a big focus for us. We have our annual training. Phishing has been something that we really are working through. And for some reason, it just seems to be increasing quite a bit. So we've been working with our partners at the Lower Hudson Regional Information Center, and they're helping us with some cybersecurity initiatives. In fact, we just rolled out another one today. So the work is very much front and center for us. We also do some work around the systems, things in the back end to make sure that we are keeping things safe and secure and updating our work sort of ongoing. And it's really just thinking about it as that investment that continues to pay dividends so long as we keep that emphasis. The next part here is around data privacy and security. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the cybersecurity. And we, again, work with the Lower Hudson Regional Information Center on our data privacy work, and they have a nice collective that we are joined with them. And so a lot of our systems maintenance work, as well as tracking our inventory. And also at the same time, a lot of the work that we like to do is make sure that as we go deeper into the technology side, not losing sight of the instructional component. So wrapping in things around instructional technologies, finding ways to support our teachers as we expand our work in that area. The third part of this kind of speaks to the larger safety frame, and quite a bit of this is done in collaboration with Buildings and Grounds. And so Steve Chamberlain has been a great partner in this work. Of course, some of our foundations are VoIP phone system and video surveillance. We've done some extensions work around our standardized ID badge system, which feeds into our district-wide goal around safety. as well as we are looking at some enhancements here, and I think it's kind of worth noting that these initiatives really start to blend our efforts to continue to build a physically safe and secure as we always have done, right? These just sort of further augment that work. And so we're looking at things like using our VoIP system for an incident response alert system. And we have some other security and safety measures that are part of the larger picture. But these specifically speak to the technology. The next part here is really around our infrastructure and our operations and our investments in those areas. So for the infrastructure piece, there are a couple of parts here that really have been ongoing for quite some time, right? So there's some upgrades to our servers and our systems. We sort of think about this work as kind of, having like a car lease, right? You have this stated investment that you have time and again, and you want to maintain that so you can continue to have something that's up to date and the most current. And so for the district, one thing that we are looking to do with that sort of leasing type of investment is to upgrade our wireless infrastructure, which is now at 8 years old. And so that has an impact on performance, but also security. So there are new protocols, so having an upgraded Wi-Fi system makes it possible to use the latest protocols and keep our students and our systems secure. As well as some other things here. We have Local Live that's come on board, and I know some of the board members in the community have been able to take advantage of that, so that's really a nice new expansion there. Some other areas where we're seeing an emphasis on technology is this area with streamlined systems. So in collaboration with the business office, we started to use My School Bucks and invoicing an online school store. This has kind of been a long time coming and a big request. We want to make sure that we're not just making checks the singular option for families to pay for a field trip, or we've been using for insurance for the devices. So that's been a welcome addition for us. Another area that's new here is looking at something called Parent Square, and that's going to be a platform that we're going to explore as a potential way to unify our communication system. We do a lot with communication, and you'll see a little bit more when we talk more in depth about that, but Parent Square is one of those systems that we're really kind of exploring as a way to support that.
Is that instead of Schoology?
No, so the Schoology would be on the learning management side.
Right, but they communicate to the parents through Schoology.
They do, and it's true. And it's a little bit of that challenge, right? Because each one of these tools, they try to supplant one or the other.
Yeah.
This would be more along the lines of maybe something that gives us more options than K-12 alerts.
Oh.
Or we use Family ID for our athletics. And something like Parent Square is a solution that would combine both.
Right.
As well as other things.
That's
and that's
great.
the challenge, because they want to get into multiple areas.
Yeah.
And we say, well, that's nice, but some things work very well for us.
Right.
So, another sort of collaboration that we have going on here is working with the special education department. And for that particular project, it's a large volume, and it's a really major investment of time and resources to do the scheduling. So this project really has the potential to transform and support our special education work in a pretty significant way as it relates to parent meetings and the work that they do to support our students. The next part here is really thinking about all of these different systems and services that we have. So kind of back of the house, if you will, right? Some of the things that we use as a district to run the district. One of the big ones, and it's here in nice, big, bold, and green, and this is our goal. This is the work that the technology department is focused on, and really striving to make a major impression within the entire district. And this is around our APPR evaluation system as well as professional development. And I will say the nice thing about this solution is that it tackles certain things that we want to have digitized or made to function with technology first, but then also what it does is it starts to bring into alignment a lot of the professional learning goals that we have for our staff. And I think that's where we really start to see the dividends. If you talk to any of the building leaders, the curriculum coordinators, or even the teachers, they're starting to see that when they're looking to engage in some sort of professional learning activity, the goals that we have as a district around that work are starting to get surfaced as they're reaching out. So it's really reinforcing, okay, what are our learning objectives in certain areas around DEIA or around SEL or technology integration, and those pieces are folded into that work. So that's truly one of the major benefits of this platform. I'm starting to do that. So that's a major part of that work. The one thing that we find as a department as we expand into our work is we are simply increasing the number of projects that we have. So in order for us to be as efficient and as streamlined as we can, we've done quite a bit of work in terms of project management, the way that we support our platforms, workflow best practices, and things like that. And so Richmond and I have quite a bit of fun diving into that work and thinking about what are the ways that we can support the various requests that are coming in, and to make sure that we manage that in an effective way so that we are setting expectations appropriately and then reaching our goals. The next part here is around our tech rooms. We are starting to look at those spaces and say, well, what can we do in our buildings to help our students with this technology support service? So one of the things that we've started to implement are some self-service tech stations in each of the buildings. We also are looking at the return of student help desk, which is a nice welcome reintroduction. We've done this in the past and seen great success with it, both at the high school and the middle school. So we're rolling that back out this year. And then our staff support efforts are continuing to grow. We just pushed out a newsletter to all the staff this week, or it was this week, earlier this week. And it's a chance to update all the staff on the various things that are going on. One of them is that we do one-on-one consultations where they can go online and schedule time with one of our building level techs, the educational technologists, and say, okay, I've got 10 minutes here. I'm gonna go book this time, and I'll sit down with Nicole and she'll be able to help me think through some challenges or some opportunities around ways to integrate certain solutions. Of course, we're doing things with class rostering, and again, that sort of helps us streamline our work. This one here is something that I think is really noteworthy, and it's exciting for me and for us. This is something that started to take place a few years ago. We had Lauren Humphreys, she was a part of our team, and this was central to her work. Now we have Dylan Statt, and he's the new member of the team who's working on these database systems. So Dylan has been working with us, and he started to build out a number of different in-house applications, specifically around loaners and inventory and insurance. And what's really great about this is it's something that helps us improve our operational efficiency as well as tracking our equipment. And we have a robust tracking system which we've built in, but now these pieces start to intermingle with one another, meaning that if a student comes in and they want to get a loaner device, I was up in the high school this morning and I saw at least 2 students come in and they said, oh, I forgot my laptop, can I get one for the day? And so we pointed them to the cart, and they have the cart, and they just pick up the laptop, and we're going to be setting up stations where it's a self-service so that they scan it themselves. They're able to just take that device and they get that device for the day. And then at the same time, it sends an automated email home to the parents. Just as a little note saying that this device has been loaned out because we want to sort of increase that communication. In the same way around if a device has some sort of damage, being able to communicate that home so that there's that the transparency is there and the communication is timely. So this is really a very nice development there. Again, with our systems, we have our students and staff joining and putting them into the system, and then if they need to be taken out, we're streamlining those processes as well. The last part here is around communication and teaching. So in our communications work, something that we are really thinking about is taking advantage of the sort of next wave to say, what does our branding look like? We've seen some evolutions. I don't know if, I imagine you've probably seen it. It was exciting for me to see it, the new signage that Mr. Iorio put up down by the gym. That new signage, I thought that was pretty amazing, to be honest. It's very, very cool, right? And that kind of branding is something that we want to reflect in the branding guide to make sure that that accurately reflects the message and how we represent ourselves as a district. So there's that, as well as our building signage, looking at new ways to increase the utilization of those existing resources. And then I mentioned the technology newsletter, but something else that's new, and this is with Deb West, and this is a nice collaboration with communications, is the new digital newsletter through Constant Contact that has just been put together. And also looking at, again, communications with our local emergency services through our E911 platform.
So that digital newsletter, will that be sent to parents, or is
Yes.
that the intent?
Yes, you can correct, please.
Thank
Sorry.
you. It's not in play yet. This will be the way, as opposed to me sending out notes and things sort of going on to the district, social media platforms will have an ongoing newsletter that will go out. So it will include my communication, and it will include the stories around the district that we have written from, the past week or so. So coming soon to an email near you.
And so the last piece here that I'll touch on is instruction, and certainly not least. And first and foremost, this is just a sampling. Earlier this year, we rolled out a new software evaluation system that was done in collaboration with the Technology and Innovation Committee. And so that work itself really started to show us just how much work the teachers are doing on their own and how they want to fold that into the larger frame of what we're doing here in the district. So this is really just a sampling of some of the work that's going on. Each one of the different bullets here highlights a specific goal that relates to the buildings, sort of big goal for the year. For high school, it's the Project Lead the Way implementation and how that works around 21st century skills and reinforcing that work. The middle school, digital publishing, is really something that works on that differentiated instruction and that differentiated experience for the students. The BRS digital fluency curriculum development sort of aligns a little bit with the literacy, but this is something for BRS that we've been working on, as well as the middle school and high school, around their implementation of the new computer science and digital fluency standards. And that's something that's not here in this presentation, but it's certainly something that will come up in the future as those standards start to get rolled out. And, there's the state summit here. There's a lot of emphasis on those standards. And I think what's really nice to showcase is where we are as a district and what that means for our students. And, I mean, it's, earlier today, I was on an email thread, and other districts are saying, well, what are you doing about this digital fluency skill? And it's really nice to see that as a district, we're really well set and on our way in terms of our plan, and that's years and years of planning. It's the involvement of our building leadership, collaboration with our curriculum coordinators who are phenomenal at really leading that work, and they have the pulse of that in their buildings, as well as just being able to collaborate with other districts and be able to learn from what they're doing, as well as to just make some really inventive and exciting ways for us. And with that, it's really preparing our students for a future with technology while focusing on community and service. And I wanted to sort of end with that notion, because I like, what brings me a lot of joy in this work is to really know that we continue to push, and we're really expanding our work in meaningful and relevant ways. But at the same time, it's balance. It's truly balance. And that's something that we think about with the digital wellness group that we're working with. And we're doing a partnership with a company called UpSavvy that does digital fluency. They've created these resources, and the resources they've created sort of interface with our students as well as families and parents, right? We want to be at that nexus, and a lot of that work helps us support that. So I think that really speaks to a lot of what we do and the perspective that we're bringing and hoping to reinforce through the technology work. With that, well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question
Wonderful.
about the digital wellness project team?
Please, yes.
So who makes up that team? Do you have representatives from the different buildings?
We do, yes. So that's a part of the Technology and Innovation Committee, which is our community advisory committee. We're actually meeting tomorrow night, so shameless plug. We like to invite individuals to join us. And we have 2 different project teams. So each year we kind of identify different themes that are critical to think about and work on. And the 2 that emerged are digital wellness and data privacy. And for the digital wellness team, we have representatives from each building. We have curriculum coordinators. We have multiple parents. And I will say that the digital wellness work has had a really nice vocal support from our community. And there's a really nice collaboration there, because we had parents that reached out to us last year and said, the technology is here. We know it's not going away, but we really have some concerns about so much technology just in our own lives as parents. Is there anything the district can do to help? And so that work with the digital wellness group is a way for us to take our sort of knowledge capital, bring it to bear, and then work in collaboration with the PTAs, PCOs, as well as Pleasantville Strong. Michael Prendergast, who's remote, is the project lead for that work. So he's meeting with Marianne Flatley. We're going to be connecting with Pleasantville Strong. We have this partnership with UpSavvy, and that's just another resource that we can bring to bear.
Great, thank you.
Certainly, thank you.
Other
Thank you.
questions?
No, I'm good.
Comments?
Very
Thank you so
thorough.
much.
Thank
Great.
you,
Thank
Cameron.